Hello everybody and welcome to my first ever review on Ratchet and Clank for PS4. Now, I got this game a few days ago, and actually launch day, which was on Friday, and I've played it through to the very end. It took me about 12 to 15 hours, and I've got to say that I've absolutely loved every second of it. It has been a fantastic game. I'm already on New Game Plus, which I never do, by the way, and it's just been a blast to play through. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory before I start this review. I used to play Ratchet Clank when I was a kid. Got the first game, which came out about 2002, I believe. Played that through, then the second, then the third, then Gladiator. And when the PS3 came around, I actually didn't get a PS3. I got a 360 instead. And that's when I missed the next 4 Ratchet Clank games. And by the time I got a PS3, it was too late. I didn't have enough time or energy to get back into those games. But now this game has rolled around, it's a perfect opportunity for me to get back in, and I've absolutely loved every second of it. Now, the way this review is going to go is I've split it up into categories. It's story, gameplay, visuals, audio, cons, and verdicts. I've got a trusty book of things I want to talk about right here, but most of this is going to be unscripted. Now, I'm going to crack on with the story. It's very funny. It's a very funny story, and the story is really entertaining. It follows the same story loosely of the very first game, where Chairman Drek is trying to, break apart planets or destroy planets to make new ones, and Nefarious joins them on this one, which is the villain from the third game, and Clank is a defect from the assembly line, and he escapes onto Veldon, which there he finds Ratchet, who is desperate to get to become a Galactic Ranger and adventure across the galaxy and quest with the likes of Captain Quark. And as they do, adventure pursues, and shenanigans unfold, and it is an absolute blast. The comedic timing on this is spot on, and it feels like I'm playing the first game all over again when it comes to that. It is just brilliant. It doesn't really miss a beat at all. And the clips, there'll be cutscenes throughout the game. And this game is to complement the film, which is coming out next week, which the film is based off of the game, so on and so on. And it's really nice to see that kind of detail in there. And you can tell the difference between the film cutscenes and the story cutscenes. And it's just brilliant. I do love it, and doesn't miss a beat with the story. It's brilliant. So the gameplay, we're going to talk about the Ratchet and Clank at its core, which is running, platforming, jumping, and gunning. Now, the guns in this are like, basically the way I see it is, if Ratchet and Clank were a band, and all of the guns are a separate song on each of their albums when they're released, then this game would be a greatest hits. The guns in this game would be a greatest hits compilation. Now, some of these guns I have never seen before because I've never played the PS3 versions, but some of these games are from the PS2 era, which I recognise. Some of them are from PS3, and some of them are completely brand new for this game. And this is the strongest lineup of guns I've ever seen in a Ratchet and Clank game. My favourites being the Proton Drum, which is like an area of effect gun, throws a big old ball into the enemies, and it blows off a big wave of energy. And the Pixelator, which you can see me using in this here, which basically is it's like a shotgun-like weapon which fires off pixelated energy, and it breaks and it depixelizes your enemies into like 16-bit, and it makes it look like you're fighting like people of Doom. Basically, it looks really cool. And when they fall apart, and it sounds really arcadey, and it's really sweet. I love it. Now, there's lots of throwbacks and nostalgia to this game as well. If you've played any Ratchet & Clank game, you will notice some kind of reference in here too. Because you'll go out through the game, and you'll be collecting 2 of different items. You'll be collecting gold bolts and holo cards. Gold bolts have been a staple of every single Ratchet & Clank game, but the holo cards, they're pretty much like baseball cards, Pokemon cards, whatever you want to call them, and they will have memorabilia from different Ratchet and Clank games, or the new Ratchet, or the one that we're playing now. and they're collectibles. And if you collect a set of 3, like say you collect a hero set or a set from a different planet or something like that, there's like a 5% chance they'll upgrade your character in general. Like there's 5% chance you'll find more Raritanium, or 5% more chance you'll find more bolts. Now, speaking of the two, bolts and Raritanium is what you'll also be collecting. Bolts is your currency, which is what you use to buy guns and stuff like that, and Raritanium is what you use to upgrade your guns. Now, there's a really cool leveling tier with this as well, not just with your character, because the more you fight, the more you level up, the more you get health, etc, etc, but with your guns as well. The more you use a gun, the more it levels up. So it goes from 1 to 5 and it'll level up to 5, and within that gun you can use Raritanium to upgrade certain aspects of that gun, like how far it fires, or how much ammo it has, or stuff like that, like for the right gun basically. And it encourages variety. It encourages you to switch guns on the fly, which I definitely did to start off with. You never stick to one gun in a Ratchet and Clank game. It doesn't really suggest that you do that. And it's such a blast to like switch between like a gun that fires really fast or fires rockets to like an area of effect gun or a flamethrower or something like that, or the pixelator as well. It's just a brilliant variety of guns, and it's just fantastic. Visuals. The visuals in this game are absolutely astounding. As of now, as of the 26th of April 2016, I think it's just 26th anyway. It is the most prettiest game on PS4, without a shadow of a doubt. I say that date because I know Uncharted 4 is just around the corner, and the next world I'm actually about to go on here is a perfect example of what I mean by all of this. So I'm just going to let myself go to this next world, and I will show you. I'll show you, but what I mean basically is there's lots of colours that complement each other, lots of vibrant colours that like pop out, and it's like, here for example, just take a look at this and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's lots of vibrant colours, lots of lighting effects when he gets out of there, and this is look at it, it's just beautiful. The clouds are moving on their own, the smoke is coming up, and the sun is shining off of Clank, and everything just looks amazing in this game, and like really colourful, and it's a real joy to look at. And I just think it's one of my personal favourite looking games on PS4, next to the likes of The Witcher 3, stuff like that. Yeah, and also something to do with the going back onto the cutscenes as well. With in the film, they look just as gorgeous as the PS4 cutscenes, perhaps even better. So it gets you really pumped for that film that's coming out next week, I believe. The musical score, the audio. Right, this is where I have to start, like, conning the game a little bit. But the musical score is quite forgettable, apart from the title track and the pause menu track. Other than that, it's completely forgettable. I actually remember some of the songs that were in the original game to this day because I played it so much. But this game is quite forgettable. I mean, it looks like they spent more of their time on the gameplay and perfecting that than they did with the actual score. And I don't know, the only reason I remember the pause menu music is because I was in it quite a bit, sorting out my card collections and my weapons and what have you. And I don't know, it just wasn't good for me at all. I didn't remember it. And a good track is when you remember it, and I just didn't remember it that well. But apart from on that side of the audio, we're going to go to the good side of the audio, which is the voice acting. The voice acting is superb in this game. I love it. I love it so much. Especially with the likes of Captain Quark and Dr. Nefarious, like the other villain, like I said. Everybody who has been in a Ratchet Clank game before, like the main cast lot, like Ratchet Clank, Captain Quark, etc, etc. They reprise all their roles for this one and the film as well, of course, and they sound better than ever. They did a fantastic job when they were in the booth. love the voice acting, and it's laugh out loud hilarious sometimes, especially with Dr. Nefarious being like a mad scientist type character who is yelling and screaming and throwing tantrums and stuff like that. Is brilliant. I love it. The guns also sound amazing as well. Like, they have their own little sounds to them as well. Like the Pixelator, for example, going back to that one again, one of my favourite guns. It fires off, like, when it fires off. It sounds like it's firing off like arcade sounds and stuff like that. And I don't know, it really does. Is that attention to detail, which is perfect for me. And also enemy chit chat. Now, what I mean by that is, before you go into an area filled of enemies, you can actually listen to them having like conversation between each other. They're quite small, they're quite sweet, but they are funny. And it's that, again, attention to detail, which I love so much in this game. Going back to gameplay, there's one thing I forgot to mention in gameplay. Now, 80% of this game you'll be playing as Ratchet. The other 20% you'll be playing as Clank. Now, Clank's style of gameplay is a bit different to Ratchet's, because he will be going off and doing platform puzzle type levels, which require you to use gadget bots in different ways. So you can turn gadget bots into different things, like electric sources for like energy sources for generators or springs, or to build bridges and stuff like that, and you'll have to use those in certain ways to get across to the next level. And these only happen about 4 or 5 times throughout the game, but it's a nice way to break up the game and add variety, because if 100% of this game was running, gunning, platforming with Ratchet, it'll get a bit stale, and it would lose that addicting factor that it does. But it's split up enough to make it seem like it's a bit of a variety, and I like that. That's good. Now, the cons. The cons of this game, I haven't got a lot, but it's really hard to pick apart a game like this, especially if it's my childhood. This is like one of my childhood games, like done in a HD format, and it's before I go on to cons, this isn't a HD remaster by any means. Don't let anybody tell you that otherwise. It follows the same story as the first game, but it like goes off in a different path, or it cuts out characters or planets or what have you, or introduces new ones, and it's its own beast entirely. So don't let anybody tell you that. But we're going to go on to the cons, like I originally said. And so the character designs, the Galactic Rangers, apart from the main ones, which are apart from Clank and Captain Quark, which are the ones you really should be remembering, the other two are quite forgettable. Brax and the other girl, I can't remember her name. See, I spent like 15 hours on this game, and I don't remember one of the Galactic Rangers, which is one of the main guys. That's like saying something. They're just there for filler. They're just there to fill the game up, like fill out the group and stuff like that, and or drive the story along in some way. And I don't know. I feel like they could have been used better, especially Brax. And another one as well. There's another enemy which is like the sidekick to Chairman Drek, which is Victor something. It's like the big robot, which you can see at the front of the box right here, and he's only seen like twice in the game, but he's big enough to be on the box, so I don't get that. And Dr. Nefarious is never on the box, and it's not like it's a surprise or anything, because he's introduced right at the beginning of the game. Music, yeah. Another thing is it's too clean cut. What I mean by that is, in the original Ratchet and Clank game, there was about halfway through where they had an argument and they hated each other for a little chunk of the game. This one feels a bit like, oh yeah, we're going to save the world, everything's hunky-dory, we're all friends here, everything's fine. I didn't like that. I preferred the old style of the game, where there was a bit of conflict and a bit of seriousness to it as well, whilst keeping the jokes intact. But those are my only cons, really. As for a verdict, I'm not going to do a 1 out. I'm not going to do a 10 out of 10 rating or anything like that. I'm actually just going to just if you've ever played a Ratchet and Clank game before, you will love this game. Or if you have even a slightest interest of playing this game, especially for how cheap it is, I'd highly recommend that you would. You go out and buy it. Honestly, it's like such a cheap game for what it is. And like seriously, the bottom line is, if you like the look of this game, I highly recommend that you should buy it. Or if you're not too sure, maybe you should pre-order it or play it or borrow it off a friend or just play it in general. I feel like every PS4 owner should own this game or should just play this at some point. So there's my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me suggestions of what other games you want me to review, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Dark Souls 3 or maybe another review. Who knows? Bye now.